What Modi's government has done cannot simply be measured in facts and figures. His landslide victory in 2014 signaled the dawn of a new age. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a few disclaimers before we proceed. I feel it is necessary to acknowledge, as Katie so nicely revealed, that I am in fact Pakistani, and political opportunism aside, that as a Pakistani woman, to speak in defense of Narendra Modi is fundamentally against my nature. I mention this because I need you to know that I would not be speaking in opposition to this motion unless I thought it absolutely necessary. I suspect many of us on this side of the aisle will be taking a limited view on what qualifies as confidence. But I must stress that there is still the essence of confidence nonetheless. I speak because I truly feel that to vote no confidence in Modi's government is to vote no confidence in the voice of South Asia, a concern that unites both India and Pakistan. I'm not an apologist, and despite what the proposition pushes forth, there is evidence of unfairly discredited success on Modi's part. The promise of 10 million jobs that has been widely criticized, as revealed by the BBC, was never actually stated by Modi. Nevertheless, he certainly did promise to create a lot of jobs and was limited in his success. In my eyes, however, he rightly states that we should look to the informal sector of the Indian economy before concluding on the realities of unemployment. Although he has been criticized for his assertion, I see much truth in the fact that to discount the pakora seller on the side of the road is to discount much of the South Asian economy. Positive hopes for employment are on the rise, with 60% of individuals, and that's Pew Research Center, that's not his fake news, believing that Modi will deliver with more time to do so. More pertinent to myself and to those here, Modi's Act East policy displays that he is not willing to shy away from challenging China's attempts at becoming a superpower. Modi has shown inwards and outwards that India will no longer be non-aligned. India under Modi aggressively fought for the new Silk Roads to find their base not in the heartlands of China, but in the Punjab. He has made a name for India, its own name, divorced from the Raj, divorced from the West, that is assertively Eastern and successful. What Modi's government has done cannot simply be measured in facts and figures. His landslide victory in 2014 signaled the dawn of a new age. He is the son of a chaiwala, a tea seller, that has climbed his way to the top of what I must stress again is an unbelievable web of individuals. Modi shocked the system of cobweb dynastic politics, and his name continues to be synonymous with change for young middle-class Indians today. Across the border, Pakistanis looked with peering eyes, perhaps not self-reflective enough to acknowledge that tied with cricket and war-fueled rage, our anger at Modi was in part jealousy. A man that spoke for the people, and further, who gave these people a distinctly Indian identity removed from the colonial constructions that shaped the mind of the South Asian elite today. The young middle-class Indian still sees hope in this India, Modi's India, and that is something to be confident in. As Time magazine so pertinently put it, populism comes in two forms. There are leaders that exploit the passions of those they do not actually identify with. Donald Trump certainly comes to mind. And then there are those who speak truly and speak from experience, those who belong to those that they aim to represent. Narendra Modi is faithfully the latter. Make no mistake, I do not speak in defense of populism. Again, Modi's direction of populist fervor, particularly towards Muslims, has been more than reprehensible. But to vote no confidence would be to ignore the tides of our times. To vote no confidence would be to fail to recognize that the Achhe Din is here for those who have for too long been politically neglected. To vote no confidence would be to hypocritically overlook the rise of populism from west to east. I am not asking you to accept the fate of a populist world. Instead, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you to see that the world is trying to tell us something. India is trying to tell us something. And whether we like it or not, they are attempting to shout that the status quo is not enough. To wholeheartedly condemn Modi for trying to improve this, for all his failures, would be condemning the politically neglected to silence once again. What fascinates me about all of the commentaries, punditry, opinion pieces, and special reports on the Indian election is that no one seems confident that Modi will lose. Regardless of how much a Guardian writer, a New York Times writer, a Times of India writer expresses confidence in Modi's failures, the article always ends with, they still seem to have faith. It is in this faith of the ordinary man that I wish for us here to recognize. Confidently and assuredly, the masses continue to believe in Modi. And to vote no confidence would be to confidently and assuredly deny recognition to the majority of 1.5 billion people whose status quo continues to change for the better under India. It is a difficult dichotomy of my own personality that I balance my argument on. There's a large part of me that severely despises Modi on a personal level. The Oxford-educated history and politics student in me is undeniably nervous at the direction that Modi takes India and South Asia, but she also recognizes the anxiety at pretending there is nothing to be confident in Modi about. To sweep his successes, his appeal, his reality under the rug is infinitely more dangerous. The elite, the liberal armchair elite, and at the very least we are the intellectual liberal armchair elite, must recognize that the status quo has shifted. The Cambridge-educated Nehru consistently conflated modernization with westernization. I certainly know I'm very guilty of that thought process, and can say the same for most of the Desi kids who sit here, at least in part because of a continuing colonial hangover that states that making it in England, and that means getting into Oxford, is the epitome of success. I do not mean to discredit the opinions of my incredibly smart fellow students, nor the political and intellectual elite that sit facing me today. And I certainly am not one to state that the opinions of NRIs, BBCDs, burgers, or whatever other mocking term is thrown at brown kids like myself should be discredited because of their westernization. But by the same token, we all must come to realize our level of detachment. Popularity does not necessarily bring quality, but it would be an injustice not to recognize the belief in Modi that the Indian nation has. To vote no confidence would be entirely and wholeheartedly failing to do so.